guys, it's Gabrielle from VeganVoice. This video is actually about how I went vegan and why I chose to. So I'll start off by telling you my story to explain how I went vegan. Now, it doesn't actually start with the vegetarian bit, so I'll just backtrack a few years. My last 5 years of school, I was actually completely dairy and wheat free because we got an allergy test done and we thought that I had dairy and wheat allergy. So I lived for about 5 years with no dairy, well obviously dairy-free stuff, alternative milks, that kind of thing, and no wheat. So that was my background. Then I went off to college. In animal college, I got increasingly interested in animal welfare, decided that I want to do my bit to kind of help animal cruelty cases, possibly work for the RSPCA, that kind of thing. I stumbled across a few things to do with animal rights when I was researching some of this, and watched quite a lot of videos about how animals get treated in agriculture, and to say the least, I was absolutely horrified by it. I hated it and I didn't want to be any part of it anymore. I'm not going to put any clips in this video, I'm going to keep it graphic free, I'm going to try to, because I know some of you who might watch this video will be younger people still living with your parents, might not want to see some of that stuff. I watched these videos and I thought to myself, this was about a year into college, just before a year. About 5 months into my animal college, I watched this video by Peter. I will put a link below, but basically it had loads of statistics about health, loads of statistics about how animals are treated, all sorts of things like that. From this video I then went on to actually look up for myself exactly how animals are treated, which I hadn't really looked at quite the same before. I'd seen a few things but I hadn't really looked at it properly, and I realised how common it is, these awful factory farms, and I started to think to myself, I don't need to be part of this. So I went pescatarian for 2 weeks. I didn't give up being pescatarian. What actually happened was I then went vegetarian because my friend turned around to me and said, well, what's the difference, basically? Because she happened to go vegetarian pretty much the same day as me, completely unrelated. Maybe she saw the same video, I don't know. Yeah, I went into college one day and she was doing the exact same thing. The way I saw it was basically that these animals had been brought up all their lives in horrible conditions to be killed, and I thought to myself, well, that's the meat industry. And I didn't think about fish, because as far as I saw it, the fish live in the sea their whole life. They're trapped, they're killed, done. As quick as that. But having done some research after my friend brought this up a bit more, I realised, well, I don't need fish to start off with. And for a second thing, when I actually looked at it, it's kind of like drowning when they suffocate when you pull them out of the water, or they get crushed in the big nets. And then I went on to have a look at the environmental side of it and realised just how much fishing is completely killing our oceans. I didn't want to be a part of that either, or there are farmed fish now that aren't ever wild. So I didn't want to be part of this at all. I didn't like that we were basically de-fishing the seas, and that, I think it was in 10 years? I will put a caption if that's wrong. But I think they said in 10 years our oceans will be completely bare if we keep fishing at the rate we are right now. So I decided to go vegetarian, and then went on to go vegan a year later. I'd been thinking about it for ages. About 2 months into being vegetarian I started thinking about it in depth, I started researching it. I was really interested. I didn't actually do anything about it because I thought it would be horrendously difficult, which looking back it's not too difficult. And I didn't want to put all the pressure on my grandparents, but the more I researched, the more I just thought to myself, I can't do this anymore, I'm beginning to hate myself for being a part of this when I don't even agree with it. So I talked to my grandparents, and they said no. They said no to start with, well, they didn't say an outright no, they said to me that they couldn't deal with it, they couldn't cope with it. After a week or so of me eating what I was given, and never asking for any seconds, and not asking for desserts, my gran said to me, look, she sat me down and she said, look, I feel like we're just leaving you out on all the desserts. Because basically my mindset at this point was, okay, my grandparents can't cope with this, I'm going to meet them halfway, I'm going to eat what I need to eat to survive, basically, and if it's something that's a treat, I'm not going to do it. So I was going to eat vegan chocolate, vegan sweets. I wasn't going to have cups of tea unless I could have my vegan milk, which I didn't at the time unless I was at college, because I live in college. so I was eating vegan there as much as I could. So yeah, I wasn't eating my desserts, and that's why my gran felt like she was leaving me out, and she could see my reluctance a bit. I hated the idea. The amount of research I'd done, it made me feel sick still doing it when I'd made up my mind already. As soon as I'd made up my mind, that was it. I was pretty put off food for a while. So that lasted for a week, and then I said to my gran, well, why can't we meet halfway? Can't we get some milk, some butter and some cheese in the house that I can have? We don't have to cook with it, just let me have my cups of tea, let me have my breakfast cereal, cheese on toast, let me do that. I'll even give you a bit of money towards it. In the end we said no to that. Well, and my gran, she told my granddad. Okay, I think she kind of kept it secret for a while when she said that yes, I could go vegan on the condition that I cook with her to kind of release some of the burden and do lots of research myself on the food so that she didn't feel burdened by it. It would be a bit more my own responsibility. I think she still does worry about it a bit, but I think that certainly helped, the fact that I've done this research and I'm still alive 2 to 3 months on. So yeah, my granddad didn't actually know at first. At first he thought my gran had just agreed to just a bit of milk and a bit of cheese, so we saw it in the fridge. Didn't know I was actually eating with it as well. I think we told him a couple days later, because they don't keep secrets from each other. I don't really know why my gran said they were going to, but I'm ranting now, I'm gonna stop. Anyway, that's how I went vegan. When I went pescatarian, I said to my gran over the phone, I explained it to her. I could have explained that a lot better. When I went vegetarian, I told her face to face, I believe. It might have been a phone conversation again, because like I say, I was at college most of the time, just came home some weekends. I think that's part of the reason she agreed to it, because I would only be there some of the time. In the end, when I kept saying to her that I was interested in going vegan before I actually went vegan, we were saying, can you at least wait until the summer? And I promised her that I would. When I actually made the transition from vegetarian to vegan, when I initially asked my grandparents if I could go vegan, the reason that actually happened so suddenly, instead of waiting till the summer and just constantly wishing that I was, the thing that spurred me into action, to at least ask, was that my Facebook page, Animal Welfare/Rights Activism, I'd had it for about a year, since just before I was vegetarian I think, or just after. Basically loads and loads of people. One person saw something on my page they didn't like, the fact that I'm vegetarian and not vegan. So they went back to their own page, which they happen to have, and told everyone, shared my post, and about 20 people came on my page at once, and it was a nightmare. It was horrible. If you're a vegan and you can't stand vegetarians, or you're trying to push a vegetarian to be vegan, do not shout at them. It's the worst thing you can do, making them feel like a horrible person. I felt awful. I hated it. Basically, I was getting tons of backlash from people because I had a vegan post on my page even though I wasn't vegan, because I planned to go vegan in the summer, and I explained this to people and they were saying, well, why can't you go vegan now? Even though I told them that I live with my grandparents, obviously that should have been a signal that I'm under 18 and that I don't have complete control over my diet, or didn't have complete control over my diet at the time. They just had all this backlash against, I'm sorry, but I am still, I'm 18 now, but I was still technically a kid, well, teenager, so it really wasn't fair to put all of that backlash on. And I'm going to mention her now because she's got her own YouTube channel, so go check it out. Lainey V Miles is the lady who talked to me and actually convinced me to go vegan, because she was one of the few people in this entire group. In honesty, I think there was about 15 people attacking me, 5 people who attacked me once and then just went away, 15 people who were just calling me horrible names, 5 of those 15 people, sorry, 10 people who were calling me horrible things, saying that I was just hypocrite and all sorts, and then there were 5 people who were actually really, really helpful, really kind, gave me the reasons, gave me some advice on approaching my grandparents on the topic. They were the ones that helped me, and honestly, if you're going to try and convert a vegetarian to veganism, do it like that. Be nice, give them the facts, give them some advice if they're still a kid living with their parents. Don't shout at them, because if anything that just makes people hate vegans, and it reinforces the stereotype of angry vegans, which is something we don't need right now. If we want to move forward as a movement, then we need to show people that we're not just shouting at them, that we've we've got a message that we're trying to get across and that we would like to talk about peacefully. So thanks to her. Please go check out her channel. I believe it's called Sweet Ahimsa. I will write up here if that's wrong, or I'll give you the spelling up here. So go check that out. I hope that this video helps some of you if you're trying to approach your parents with the topic. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a video soon about tips on how to tell your parents that you're going vegan. So yeah, I'll try to link those two together, put them in a playlist or something of advice. So yeah, I hope this video helps you guys.